Alrighty, we're back. This is lesson number 16. 16, 17, 18 would be relative to a Thursday class, and that would be April 23rd, I think, this week. If we were together, I keep saying that. If, I wish. All right, we're going to do a few lessons. I don't know if they'll be right together or a little bit spread apart. I kind of like to spread things out and mix it up. But I want to discuss tag questions. This is something that you've certainly studied and you've probably begun to use some, but can be a little bit tricky. The reason I want to bring them up is because I think that they are one of the more common forms of expression that you would hear, and that would also be excellent for you to begin to feel comfortable using. And so this is like very common small talk sorts of questioning here. And we'll talk about, kind of how to build tag questions and how to use the tone of voice to convey your meaning with those questions. Tag questions usually are usually based on an affirmative or a positive sort of statement, such as that test was easy, okay? So you have a straightforward statement. That test was easy in the positive form. If I'm thinking that the test was easy, but I'm a little worried because, maybe it seemed easy, but I really didn't do so well after all. Maybe it just seemed easy and it really wasn't so easy. So I might turn this into a tag question. Sorry, I have so much trouble with this camera. Turn this into a tag question and ask someone, that test was easy, wasn't it? Okay, so this is our tag on the end. And I might use that very tone. That test was easy, wasn't it? Okay. I might not smile quite that much either. I might say, that test was easy, wasn't it? Okay. So I'm conveying to the listener that I think this, but I'm not positive. So I'm asking your input on that. Another example. Affirmative statement. He's working hard. Okay? He's working hard. But if you're not so sure, he's working hard. Isn't he? Okay? We use our form of be here and the pronoun he. He's working hard, isn't he? Okay? Or he's working hard, isn't he? I had someone recently doing some yard work for me, 2 boys, high school boys, and I felt like it was taking them too long to do the job. And so I began to kind of look out the window and watch how they worked. At first I thought they were working hard, but then I realized that they were talking a lot, and they would stop and talk about something, and then they would start working a little bit more, and then they would stop and talk, okay? So at first I thought they were working hard, and then I found out they really weren't, okay? So example of how that question could come up and be phrased that way with that tag. Another example would be there were many people at the concert. Oops. Okay. There were many people at the concert. A positive statement. Because it's a lot of words, I'm not going to rewrite it, okay? But this is my observation. I'm wondering what someone else thinks. Did someone else think that that was a very good crowd of people, a very large crowd of people at the concert? And if so, I would use the tag weren't there. Okay? There were many people at the concert, weren't there? There were many people at the concert, weren't there? The other person could reply, well, I thought it was a pretty good crowd, but there was no one in the balcony. So it really wasn't full. The building wasn't full. Okay? So someone may see it differently than I do. All right? And one using the auxiliary verb have. They've, which we know is they have, as a contraction here. They have, or they've, already finished. Maybe talking about my guys working in the yard. They've already finished. And if I want to turn that into a question, I'm not quite so sure. I'm confirming, maybe with my husband, they've already finished, comma, and it would be what? Haven't they? They've already finished, haven't they? All right. Now, certainly we can ask the question, have they already finished? Have the boys already finished? That's fine. Using a tag is just a kind of informal and very common everyday way of talking. And so it would be great for you to try it out a little bit more and experiment with it. And certainly your question might be much lengthier, but the tag itself is going to be right there at the end and very short. Okay? And by the way, we use the word tag thinking about a tag on a garment. It's just something extra added on. Here's one that is a little bit lengthier. She can play the violin like a professional. Statement. She can play the violin like a professional. Tag it as a question. She can play the violin as a professional, can't she? Okay. Read that one with me. She can play the violin like a professional, can't she? Usually when we would use something like this, we would have a smile and an intonation of excitement or pride because we are amazed. And we're pretty sure that the other person is going to agree with us, okay, in a situation like this. All right. And let's try one with the modal verb should, okay? We really should leave by 8:30 a.m. All right, statement. We really should leave by 8:30 a.m. All right, you're having that conversation with your spouse, planning to maybe get to the airport on time. So perhaps you're not so sure. We're going to add a tag and turn it into a question. We really should leave by 8:30 a.m., shouldn't we? So this one feels like you're not so secure about this idea. Maybe, maybe we should leave earlier is what you're thinking. And you really want the other person to give you feedback. So you're going to say this one sort of like that. We really should leave by 8:30 a.m., shouldn't we? And your spouse may say, oh, I think 8:30 a.m. is plenty early enough. That's good. Or they could say, oh, traffic could be bad. Let's leave at 8 instead. Right? And the last one that I will do in this set of tag questions is using the auxiliary verb had. I'll use it in a contraction. We had. All right. We'd better hurry or we'll miss the sale. I like to go to sales. And sometimes if you don't hurry and get there quickly, you miss out on all the good stuff, okay? We'd better hurry or we'll miss the sale. If we want to turn this into a question, and we want to see if the other party agrees with us, the other person agrees with us, we better hurry or we'll miss the sale, hadn't we? Well, that one feels a little bit awkward, okay? We can say had here, and let's see how it sounds. We had better hurry or we'll miss the sale, hadn't we? Okay, that's a little bit more awkward, but that is the tag that you would use in this case. So you see that the tag usually repeats whatever the verb that you have used, the auxiliary verb that you have used, or the form of be that you have used. All right? I think it would be a worthwhile thing for you to listen to American conversation and just what you might overhear at when you're out shopping, or when you can do play dates again with friends and you hear Americans chatting back and forth. And you will be amazed at how often these tag questions are used in conversation. It's a little bit of a polite kind of thing, I think, because we sometimes don't want to assume that the other person is going to agree with our thoughts and ideas, and so we almost see it as a polite way to find out how they feel, and then to go from there. I can think of times where I would commonly use this. One would be if I'm entertaining people for dinner or something, and I might be a little nervous and I might be a little unsure that something I have prepared is just right, okay? So I might say, I think the chicken has cooked enough, hasn't it? Okay, I think the chicken has cooked enough, hasn't it? I want to be sure. Okay, I'm a little nervous that maybe somebody thinks the chicken hasn't been cooked quite enough. So it's my polite way of asking. And then that gives them the opportunity to say, mine might not be quite done. And we don't want to feed anyone chicken that hasn't been completely cooked, right? So we might use that in a sort of polite way to make sure that the other person is comfortable. Another time that we certainly use tag questions would be talking about the weather. Oh, it's been a dreary day, hasn't it? Okay, and usually when we do that, people will agree. But I will tell you that they would say, oh yes, it has. But I will tell you that sometimes I've been surprised because I'm not a rainy day person, you know that. How many times did you hear me complain about all the rain back in January and February and getting in and out of the building in the rain? I wasn't a happy camper, but I have said to people before, oh my goodness, it's such a rainy day, and I might say it's just such a rainy and miserable day, isn't it? And that's how I would say it probably, because I don't like rainy days. Such a rainy and miserable day, isn't it? And the other person might surprise me and say, well, I love these days. I love rainy days. They're my favorite. Like, what? But maybe that person really enjoys staying in on rainy days, or maybe they think being out on rainy days is very pleasant. I don't know. I find it kind of strange, but all right, our last minute and a half here. Instead of telling you a joke, I'm going to show you the masks I've been making. I have sewed dozens of masks, and it's been fun. And here are just a few of them. This one is one that I really like because I like the color. And this is how it is. So it covers a lot, and I put an extra layer inside to, it's a kind of filter layer that I think helps. Here's another example. This one I haven't quite finished, but red and white polka dots, and also it's reversible. So this side is white. And these elastics go all the way around there, up above the ear and around. And this one I think is kind of cute. And then I've got one that is boring for the men. Oops. And I haven't put the elastic in this one yet. But they all have an extra layer inside, so they take me a little while to make. But I think I've made probably about 50 or so. And I've given them to doctors' offices and hospitals and family members. So if anybody is interested in the pattern, I'll be glad to share it with you. I imagine you have plenty of masks because you are all people who were well accustomed to wearing masks, and we are just finally getting on board with that. And it's going to become a popular thing now, I think. If you need one, let me know, and I'll try to find time to make one for you. All right, I hope everyone has a good day. I will see you for lesson 17 shortly. Thanks.